What if I told you that the answer to hunger isn't food? I'm Rachel, I'm a public and social policy consultant, and I want what I know to be what you know. And today we're learning about paternalism bias. Now, before we begin, full caveat, I am, of course, aware that really the only answer to hunger is food. I'm not talking, when we're talking about hunger in this video, I'm not talking about the literal hunger of an individual human. I'm talking about food insecurity. Food insecurity or hunger in the UK is not a lack of food, it is a lack of money. Paternalism, it kind of the clues in the name, it kind of means father knows best, which is just super creepy, but also it tells us or it confirms the belief that we have that some people need to be protected from themselves. A bit like children, we do it all the time with children, and fair enough, with children we genuinely do as adults know better through experience, and we need to protect them from themselves in certain circumstances. But the paternalism bias, particularly when it's around poverty, is what tells us or helps us to maintain the illusion that people in poverty are there because they have made bad choices. They can no longer be trusted. So we make these choices for them, heavily rooted in this bias that people in poverty are less informed, less capable, less intelligent, and that they don't have like the self-control to buy something sensible like carrots instead of smack. I might have gone on a bit of a rant there. Carrots instead of smack. Okay. I started off with this video talking about food and food banks. Whenever I've had these conversations with other people, the next sort of question or next logical response that they have is, okay, well, perhaps not food, but what about vouchers instead? Now, because of paternalism, we're so wrapped up in doing what we think is the right thing and protecting stupid poor people from themselves and their reckless decisions, that providing vouchers to people in poverty has become a little bit of an industry. How do I know this? Why do I think this? Well, I've studied the Household Support Fund, which is a ring-fenced grant given since around October 2021 through local authorities to people experiencing financial hardship. And so far across the UK, we've spent around £4.5 billion since 2021 in very short-term grants. Because of the way we disperse these types of grants in the UK, it's something called the Barnett formula. Scotland and Wales don't report on the same kind of statistics and they don't have the same kind of fund. So what I'm talking about here is only England. And since 2021, we have delivered £3.7 billion in household support funding in England. For household supports 3 and 4, so they've been done in tranches from 1 to 7. For 3 and 4, that's around 58% of the money that was given out in vouchers. Now, 58% of what we've delivered in England will be £2.1 billion in supermarket vouchers that we've given out to people experiencing financial hardship because we don't want to give them cash. Now, what happens when we give somebody a supermarket voucher? It's not a trick question. They're going to go to the supermarket and they're going to spend it in the supermarket. When we give people cash, they're far more likely to spend it in their local economy. So paternalistic policies like this undermine dignity. They tell us that they don't trust people, but actually it's just not good redistributive policy. This is basically corporate subsidies to retail giants in the form of a couple of £billion that could have gone to that local economy. It does do is it reassures the giver, it's politically safe, it tells us that we're doing the right thing. And again, because it feeds this narrative that people in poverty are there because of poor choices, it stops us from asking why. It says we're feeding families, we're giving families food, instead of asking why can families not afford food. Cash transfers are more efficient, they're more economic, they go directly to where people actually need them. And, so what if they don't spend it on exactly the type of food that you want them to spend it on? It isn't about you, it's about them. Because of paternalism bias, we think we know best. Well, we don't. Policymakers don't know best when it comes to individuals. We think we do, but we don't. It's about us and not them when we give people vouchers or food instead of cash. But the moral of this video really is that food might feed people, but money is what gives them dignity and it's what helps them in the long run. We just need to get over ourselves and assume that people have agency and that they deserve the dignity that cash will bring them. We need better policy.